Hello everyone and welcome to our top 10 high flyers in WWE history. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do 5 of my picks, 5 of Dev's picks. We're going to put them all together in a nice little meal for you guys. That's the thing. So wrestling is something we both love and adore, and these guys have done so many things over the years that made us say,
there is some risk taking that normally wrestlers just casually do, but these wrestlers really do it. There was a DVD released called Best High Flyers, and they really put over the bumps, the bruises that these men take on the day-to-day basis just because they decide to put a little pep in their step and do a little extra high flying. So shout out to them. And like Matthew said, we're big fans of wrestling, so because of that, I would definitely suggest to check out our most recent video on this channel, the live compilation from Elimination Chamber. We also have a prediction video too, so don't forget to check that one out as well.
And know that there's more coming here to MoreMadViews. We're going to be talking all things WrestleMania. We're going to talk all things wrestling here on MoreMadViews. And know that there's going to be much more coming, but what you guys need to do before we start this video is to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to ring the bell, stay notified.
We honestly ask you to like, comment, and subscribe, but honestly, out of all that, we really just want you to comment. If anything, just share. We really like the input from you guys, so really just give us your opinion on what you like, what we're saying. If you give us your opinion on what this topic, we love the interaction with you. We are just stating our opinions. What's your opinion? Do you agree? Do you not agree? Comment. Let's talk about it. But yes, like Matthew said, we have a lot of socials. We made a little card that you guys can click. We got TikTok, we got Twitter, we got everything. Instagram, always check our Instagram. We're active on there always. TikTok behind the scenes, you know. We're just giving you glimpses into our life.
And with that being said, don't forget to go check that stuff out, and to also down below give us your guys' top 10 of this topic. Yes, the high flyers, and we're going to be doing many more, like technicians, big men,
wrestlers,
and so much more.
Even more different companies, ECW, New Japan. This list was so hard to make because we're limiting it just to WWE. It was even, honestly, it made it slightly easier just because of that, but it was so much more harder to make. We took like 2 days to make this list. But
and we're also going to be doing honorable mentions at the end, so know that your favorite wrestler may be a part of this list.
Exactly.
But without further ado, let's hop in to our top 10.
Let's go. Matthew, due to you came up with the idea for this series, I think honestly you should probably start it.
Alright, so my first pick is that of Ultimo Dragon. Ultimo Dragon used to be a part of the WWE a while ago, and we haven't seen him since in the television. However, he has many accolades over a much period of time, but one thing that is heartbreaking to me is that he never was out of that shadow. He was always overlooked. He never became the WWE Cruiserweight Champion, as far as we can tell, even though I do remember a fond moment. I guess I must be overthinking this, but something of which he did have the Cruiserweight Championship at one point. However, we have yet to hear anything about that, especially researching everything and whatnot. But I think that's a crime. Ultimo Dragon was one that was very entertaining, and was very intriguing. He was very different. He was a luchador amongst not many luchadors at the time, and it was great to see him flourish as a dragon. You know, what a name. Ultimo Dragon, the ultimate dragon.
Exactly. Ultimo Dragon was a really interesting talent, and that is a really good pick personally. He was during the Ruthless Aggression era, where it was literally him and Rey Mysterio as the only two masked wrestlers really during that time who were flyers. Obviously there's Kane, but you know what I mean. But Ultimo Dragon, you mentioned him, and his finisher is the first thing that comes to mind. The aside DDT, the backflip DDT, it's crazy. He honestly just he made the roster lift to a new level. And Ultimo Dragon, like very small period in the company, but at that time he just killed it. He just made that division work so much harder personally.
And that's the thing, like he came right out of his time in New Japan and then moved into WCW and then moved into WWE. And I know we're only talking about WWE, but his time in WCW really elevated everything that would then later be owned by Vince McMahon and him coming into WWE. And I feel like that's going to be a general thing here of the cruiserweights coming in from those companies or another company and just establishing themselves and really elevating the roster. And that's where Ultimo Dragon came for me.
For real. He really elevated the roster to a whole new level. And Matthew, if you don't mind, I would love to mention my pick right now. You like Ultimo Dragon was so great. I have to tell you, and it's someone who I think elevated wrestlers overall, and someone who elevated to a new height, being the first ever Black WWE champion. He's 4-time Intercontinental champion, 3-time United States champion. So many accolades I can literally go on for. He's been in the company for so long. You should already know him as Kofi Kingston. This man, Kofi Mania, baby. This man has done so much, as I already said. And now think, what is his wrestling style? He's not like John Cena. He's not like Dave Bautista. He's not like Randy Orton. He doesn't wrestle like that. He's a man who's won the WWE Championship and is known for Royal Rumble spots where he'll save himself in a very athletic and normally flipping over a really crazy thing, or moments where he's booked in a Money in the Bank match and does insane spots and is known for those crazy spots. He is a man who has done so much crazy high-flying maneuvers and just casually made it to the top. Kofi Kingston is him and someone else that is going to be mentioned in this list, hopefully, if not honorable mentions. Those two men are literally what high flyers can be, and they had that great build story to it. Kofi Kingston, I believe, is one of the best high flyers in WWE because of those reasons. He's a man who made moments. He's a man who wrestles that style. Most of his moveset is literally high flying. He changed the game, personally.
He did change the game. Kofi has been overlooked. Another person who's been overlooked, and it tends to be something, not to throw shade at Vince McMahon, but it's a common occurrence nowadays with people who are smaller, people who are doing things that are not the wrestling way, tend to get outshadowed, and it's great that they allowed Kofi to do Kofi Mania, and just you can see when fans just generally pick up on that stuff, and
it's lovely
created moments.
It's all about the moments. It's all about the moments in wrestling, and with high flyers, they're such great people to make moments all the time. And honestly, I could just get into my next pick right now, but Matthew, please,
Well, when you speak about moments and WWE nowadays, there's one person that always comes to mind. That one person being the one and only Ricochet. Now, Ricochet has had many accomplishments over the time that he's been in WWE. He's been the Intercontinental Champion twice. He's been the US Champion once. NXT North American Champion, and elevated that whole part of the industry for a very long time when he was down there. World Cup Champion, Tag Team Champion #1 contender with Braun Strowman most recently, as well as Tag Team Classic winner of the Dusty Cup in NXT with Aleister Black, and was NXT year-end award for Breakout Star of the Year in 2018. What an amazing accomplishment this man has had, and he continues to elevate even in the Royal Rumble with the most amazing spot I've ever seen in a Royal Rumble, as one man jumps from one end of the ring and the other jumps across and they hit in the middle. What an amazing spot. and it continues to happen every time I see Ricochet, and what a name to have in this industry, as a bullet that's just flying around, ricocheting and attacking everyone in his path. What an amazing, amazing talent, and I cannot wait to see him elevate to even higher heights. He's fought Brock Lesnar, he's fought these big men before. Can he dethrone somebody soon? I really hope so.
Ricochet is just one of those talents that I think is honestly such a really interesting choice to have on your list, because he is a really, really great high flyer, and he is literally that style. And literally what I said with Kofi could just be Ricochet's future, elevating him to new heights as one of the first ever world champions, like being one, like a main high flyer. Like, it'll be crazy for sure. And Ricochet's past, I think, I know we're not supposed to mention the past, and like I just need to mention this because it literally changed wrestling, is his match against Will Ospreay, the New Japan Battle of the Best of the Super Juniors. I don't remember the year, but him versus Will Ospreay literally changed high flying wrestling. It literally, with the sequence, we'll link it in the description. It literally changed wrestling. I'll make a video. We'll talk about it another day or something.
What an opening! What a
such
sequence.
a moment. It's such a moment in wrestling, and Ricochet is that guy that I know exactly why I put him on this list, because he is that guy that every time he's in that ring, you get excited. Because when we seen him at the Chamber, we were excited, and when we seen him at Raw, we were excited.
And that's the thing, Wrestling Observer newsletter has been saying for years, it actually says it here, that the best flying wrestler of the decade of the 2010s was that of Ricochet. And I completely agree why. I mean, like you said, just an innovator in high flying.
Straight, and I literally, like, this whole man's wrestling style is just that. He is someone who creates moments, like you said in the beginning, and he just wrestles that style and kills it. No, I agree that, like I would say, like I agree that Ricochet does do this. He makes moments, he kills it. That's not his name, you know. That's not his nickname. He doesn't own that. Who's someone that owns that, Matthew? I'll tell you right now. That is John Morrison, the human highlight reel himself. Nickname understood, because that meant the parkour king. Let me not get ahead of myself here. He was known as Johnny Nitro early on in WWE. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about John Morrison specifically. That's when he brought out that high flying ability, that parkour ability. I literally remember owning his DVD and watching him talk about doing parkour so he can innovate his high flying skills. Like, this man specifically cared about that, and he did some crazy things I've never seen before a man do in a ring, just with his high flying. Like, as you can see the gifs on the screen of John Morrison just killing it, as we've been showing. But John Morrison is, like, Starship Pain alone, hands down, one of the best finishers, best high flying finisher I think there is. Like, if we did a top 10 high flying finisher list, this would honestly be like number one, because that is just out insane. The springboard kick he constantly does, the diving corkscrew he would constantly do. Like, this man was an innovator, like you said with Ricochet, but such early on in the game. Like, probably one of the people Ricochet I would say even looked up to. Later, and even later on, going, and again, no, we're not supposed to mention other companies, but this is just facts at this point. This man went on to Lucha Underground, a lucha-based show, and was such a main competitor in there with Ricochet as Prince Puma, obviously. But just saying, like, that is just like facts. Like, if you get booked in a Lucha Ground show, you're doing the lucha like, it's John Morrison, human highlight reel, perfect.
So the parkour god. He generally just, when you talk about innovative and creative, these are words that I would definitely associate with, you know, just a human highlight reel. You know, he generally had so many moments that when you look back, you're like, how did he do that? And when you look and you have to put John Morrison in this at some point, right? Because with him just doing the spots that he was doing, and when he was out of, just the whole Eminem thing in WWE, he really got the time to shine and show his true colors and what he generally loved. And I think what he generally loved his time in the WWE, it was just doing the hardcore stuff, doing Starship Pain, hitting all these crazy maneuvers that only he could do.
I agree. That was it. He was a man who wanted to stand out, and that's exactly what he did. And I love it. It's honestly I'm saying all this, and I just think it's crazy that he's just never won a major championship in WWE. The most multiple tag team champion, ECW world champion back during that time of ECW, intercontinental champion. He did a lot. It's just upsetting he's never been WWE champion, world champion. He's never won that major championship yet, and that's just crazy.
But speaking about the WWE championship, speaking about accolades, to move on to my next pick, one who is a WWE Hall of Famer, a WWE champion at a time, an ECW World Heavyweight Champion at a time. He's also been a European champion, a hardcore champion, an intercontinental champion, as well as multiple-time WWE and World Tag Team Champion, and a Money in the Bank holder. His name is only 3 letters, and his name is RVD.
God damn.
RVD coming in with a 5-star Froggy Splatchy. Yes, the 5-star Frog Splash. And his Rolling Thunder coming in and just setting WWE ablaze with multiple
innovators.
Talk about innovators, exactly. Talking about him working in a tag team with Rey Mysterio, with Kane, with Booker T. These are all future Hall of Famers. It's not already Hall of Famers. And then you wonder what just got into the Hall of Fame in 2021. He just had an amazing match with Eddie Guerrero, with Rey Mysterio. There's some amazing classics there, and of course, we can also beg the fact of talking about John Cena versus Rob Van Dam at ECW One Night Stand, and those are just iconic moments. Iconic moments.
Love that match.
And when you speak about iconic and you think ECW and you think high flying and you think WWE, this is who you think about. And I know not to talk about any other promotion, but then ECW was then, batched in with WWE. And you can't say ECW and not think of Rob Van Dam.
No, that man literally in WWE, he's the first man, not the only man. He's the first man to win the ECW and the WWE championship. Like, that is just insane. That man did it. He made it, and being again that style of a wrestler, like, that's insane. And just just casually doing these flips, these dives, these things, like, he was casually innovating the game and also doing it while adding in kicks. Like, he did the what was it called, the springboard savate kick, the springboard back thrust kick. That was like a move that he would casually do. The throwing the chair and the jumping roundhouse,
the coast to coast with the chair.
SmackDown versus coast to coast with the chair. Like SmackDown versus Raw 2008, you specifically need the high flying skill to unlock that chair backflip thing. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, Rob Van Dam innovated the game with hardcore high flying and just overall high flying. An innovator indeed. That was a very good pick.
Rob Van Dam is one that no one will ever forget, and just like you said, innovator, and really made WWE have that push over a long period of time. And you would always Never fast forward through a Rob Van Dam match because you knew you were about to see something incredible. But speaking about incredible, what is your next pick, Dev?
My next pick is someone really incredible. Just like the Incredibles from DC, he was kind of a hero at one point in WWE. He's a 2-time Cruiserweight champion. He's multiple-time NXT champion. Slammy Award winner in 2015 for Breakout Star of the Year in WWE. And a 1-time NXT champion. Adrian Neville. I'm choosing him because, again, his casual style was high-flying. Every move he did was innovated with a high-flying way of doing it. The inverted Poison Rana is technically a high-flying move. Him doing his casual dives, to him doing the running backflip dive to the outside, love it. Crazy dives all the time. His finisher, everyone would wait, would hold their breath just to see that shit. It's every time you see it, it's just insane. You can't wrap your head around it. It's just an insane finisher to watch. It reminds me of Starship Pain, hence why both these men are in this
That's the
list.
thing. The Red Arrow is honestly an incredible finisher, and he's the man that gravity forgot. And you can clearly see it.
That's exactly what I agree. And Ricochet, to mention someone that you mentioned for this list, Ricochet is literally one of the first wrestlers to do a double moonsault. And Pac is another wrestler to do a double moonsault. These wrestlers are just insane, I say. And they know how to innovate with that high-flying style. And all of the ones on this list are just bless them all. Now there's someone I almost didn't put, I'm saying this bless them all because they're just crazy innovative wrestlers that we've been saying. I almost didn't put AJ Neville on this list because of someone I'm going to put, I'm going to mention in my honorable, unless you have them on your list, man.
Who's to say? But Adrian Neville is truly just a gift, and I'm so glad that he did come over to WWE. He was working very well on the independent scene, and then moving forward, he would then continue on now in AEW with the Death Triangle, which if you guys want to see an AEW video in regards to high flyers, let us know. We'd love to hop into stuff in regards to the indies and potentially other companies, but with talking about Adrian Neville and his time in WWE, he really elevated the roster and made everyone know that the Red Arrow was definitely something to be very, very frightened about. As for my next pick, I don't know if this is a pick you're talking about, but it is someone that when you talk about innovative, there's only one person that comes to mind. And again, he has 3 numbers, but not 3 letters to be looking for. And, as someone that continues their journey in WWE still, but has been there for quite a long time. And he has so many accolades. And I will name them all, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. The biggest little man himself, Rey Mysterio. A 1-time WWE champion, a 2-time WWE World Heavyweight Champion, a 3-time WWE Cruiserweight Champion, 2-time Intercontinental, multiple-time WWE Tag Team Champions with Edge, Rob Van Dam, Eddie Guerrero, and Batista, as well as with his son. Also, multiple-time US, won the Royal Rumble, and many other accolades. He's also a Triple Crown champion, and he's just someone who when you talk about Rey Mysterio, you know exactly what you're getting yourself into. The 619, the West Coast pop, these big maneuvers that have been synonymous with the masked luchador himself, that literally created the game and brought luchador action to the big screen in WWE. He was elevating stuff in WCW and then moved forward and just made this whole WWE experience for luchadors and for just to follow with Lucha Libre wrestling. And again, you go all around the world and you see the masks and little kids still wearing his mask and him putting his head on them, and the minute you hear Booyaka Booyaka hit, you know you're in for a treat.
He had a high flying entrance too.
Exactly, he was spring up.
Kind of like Sin Cara jumping over up, he would spring up and
That's
explode.
exactly what it was. Every time he hit that ring, it'd be an explosion of just jumping everywhere, doing everything, and you wanted to see that fast-paced action every time you would tune in to a SmackDown or a Raw or any pay-per-view that would follow with Rey Mysterio.
When he finally got drafted. Exactly. Rey Mysterio was that guy at the time. Like, he was just flipping. He was flying. He was one of the first luchadors that really stayed in WWE and made a mark and made a territory and actually made a mark. Made a mark. Every time another luchador comes in, they step up to Rey because of that. It's not lazy booking, damn it. It's because of the legacy of Rey Mysterio. I cannot wait to see what his damn son Dominic is going to do.
But that's the thing, it's very Dominic is very fluent when it comes to everything that's been happening with Rey recently in the WWE and seeing what's going to happen now moving into WrestleMania with them. But that's the thing, when you're a megastar like Rey Mysterio, do you need to do more? No, but it's good to see that he's also putting that legacy into Dominic and continuing his legacy there. But that's the thing, when you think Rey, I remember him coming in and his debut, he jumped off a cage. He just jumped off a cage on SmackDown, and in his classic red get-up, and he was just honestly, what an incredible gem Rey Mysterio has been and continues to just flourish in the WWE, and has been so loyal to this business, and continues to just help out everyone that's there.
You're exactly right. Rey Mysterio is just, bless him for everything he's done. I remember reading his book and him mentioning him doing all the high flying stuff and how hard it was to get booked because of that. But I'm so glad that he made it because of that. Bless him. But someone who has such a crazy legacy and someone who has such a mark in the WWE, and it's my next pick, and it's one of my favorite wrestlers, Jeff Harvey. Jeff Hardy, my bad. So sorry, everybody. One-time WWE champion, 2-time world champion, 5-time intercontinental champion, 1-time United States, 1-time light heavyweight champion, 3-time hardcore champion, my fucking GOAT, 9-time total, right? 9-time total tag team champion.
An innovator.
Let me also add, he's won 2 Slammy Awards for Extreme Moment of the Year for 2008 and 9. Let me read out these Extreme Moments of the Year for you. Extreme Moment of the Year 2008, giving Randy Orton a Swanton Bomb, a diving front flip from the top of the Raw set. I remember that
iconic
moment. I remember him getting pulled out on the stretcher, pulling up his hand sign, his little gang sign, as he's shivering and Randy Orton's not even moving. Remember what I said in the beginning of this video, please. These wrestlers are constantly putting their life on the line. constantly doing insane things. Now that is obviously a planned stunt, yes, but that's just exactly what they do. That's all. Jeff Hardy is, unfortunately, before I get there, extreme moment of the year 2009, jumping from a ladder onto CM Punk through the Spanish announce table at SummerSlam. I love how they added Spanish. Jeff Hardy is a goddamn innovator. One of the men who literally started in this business as a young high flyer and worked that style throughout, never changing. Just like Rey Mysterio, he did, but just unlike Rey Mysterio, let's not add, he was like RVD, where he would do the hardcore high flying style and constantly destroy himself. The unfortunate part of that, RVD though, he did the same thing though, don't get me wrong, but RVD stopped at a point. Jeff though continued doing it, and because of that, the excitement of us, the fans, because he broke his shit for us, like he fucked himself up for us, for our excitement, for our pop, for those moments. Like he dove off the Raw set, he dove through these tables, like that shit, wrestling's fake, that shit still hurts, that shit still tears you, and when you're doing it every night, think about all the dives he missed. Think about all the things he missed, the bumps they add up when you're doing it weekly and yearly. How long was he with WWE? I don't even want to count the years. We could do the math right now, but I'm not even going to. Jeff Hardy destroyed himself for the business. The way he did it was best flying wrestler, as Wrestling Observer Newsletter said it in 2000 as he was signed with that company.
Honestly, yes.
God bless Jeff Hardy.
Absolutely.
Fucking legend.
And that's the thing. I know many people have been criticizing everything that's been happening with Jeff Hardy, but guys, he did it for us. He put his life in danger every time he'd come out. And with that being said, guys, please do not try this at home. This is planned. This is professional wrestling. They are professionals when it comes to all of this.
Professionals.
Believe me, we've all indulged. But when it comes to the stunts that these guys perform and the things these guys do, it is completely astonishing. But they're professionals in doing this. Please do not attempt it. And please, Jeff Hardy, just get better, buddy. And thank you again for your years of service and in entertaining us.
Literally.
He's been through a hell of a lot, and I just think if you guys have been watching this and you guys are thinking about, just went through and everything like this, then just remind yourself that Jeff did it for us, and as much as we miss him and we want to see him more, he's still a human being and he needs help right now. So prayers go with Jeff Hardy, and we cannot wait to see you in the Hall of Fame very soon, buddy, because you definitely deserve it.
He most definitely deserves that. Jeff Hardy matches versus Undertaker, like I can go on right now with like how his accomplishments again, because he's just so amazing, like forever, like amazing. Speechless, because he's just it's
there
just Jeff Hardy.
With the
like,
ladder
no
match, with the DLC matches, with him innovating alone, but also with his brother too, with the Hardy Boys, and
so many moments. Like I can literally think about multiple, like him jumping through the ladder at WrestleMania, him jumping off the ladder through a
iconic
table,
moment you see everywhere.
Speared by Edge. That was him dangling. Jeff Hardy is literally in all those oh my god iconic moments. Like think about it.
Go
there's
to
not
any
like
oh
there's
my
a bump
god
he hasn't taken
section, and you'll definitely see about 5 Jeff Hardy clips every time, because he generally was that innovative. And wow, thank you, Jeff. One person that I wish we can say thank you also to is my next pick and my final pick. one who was also an innovator. We lost very, very soon after we noticed how great he was. But they really put a nice tribute together, and I will never ever forget this person, because every time someone grabs a chair, every time someone is reminded of the legacy of this person, you think about a move or moves, and you think this person. You think about lying, cheating, and stealing. You think about his nice low ride that he'd come to the ring with and bounce up and down, and you think he was your papi himself, and they still show it with Mami, with Rhea Ripley. His name being Eddie Guerrero.
Keeping it alive.
Now, he's a former WWE champion, WWF European champion 2 times, also a US champ, former Intercontinental champion twice, 4-time tag team champion, with Chavo Guerrero as well as Tajiri and Rey Mysterio, of course. And he also was inducted in the WWE Hall of Fame 2006. This was also the year that he sadly passed. And that's the thing, he's been gone for a very long, guys, but he'll never be forgotten. One that generally was an amazing technical wrestler, but also would fly huge heights, have amazing matches with Rob Van Dam, with an amazing feud with Rey Mysterio, as well as his brother Chavo, and many, many others. I think back to the times with him and Rey, and just them, going and in the low ride, being the tag team champions, and then him turning, and then doing a whole run with himself again, getting into the WWE Championship. What an iconic WrestleMania moment that was. Winning against Kurt Angle, out of all people, doing that, and lying, cheating, and stealing his way to the top. That's exactly what he did. He got out of the ankle lock, and he did this crazy maneuver, and then would hit his patented 5-star frog splash that everyone would pay tribute to, and continues to do so.
Every time you see someone go to the top rope and do a diving frog splash, there's 2 names that come to mind. It's RVD or Eddie Guerrero, but most of the time it comes up to Eddie Guerrero. A amazing pick, Matthew. That man changed it. His WCW work was crazy, but once he hit WWE, he just strived to the top. From what he was doing, he really gave. He was kind of like opened the, like, everyone we're mentioning in these lists who won championships that high have literally just opened the door for their division, and it's crazier that it happens it's happening more and more often with Kofi Kingston, and it's just it's Eddie Guerrero is one of those people.
And that's the thing, it's all about storytelling too, right? As much as there's high-flying maneuvers and they're high flyers, I don't think you could have found a better guy to be both a guy that you love and a guy that you can hate in seconds when it came to Eddie Guerrero. You generally loved when he lied, cheated, and stealed when he was a face, but then when he was a heel, he could be the most menacing and most tactical, crazy at times, just despicable human being. I remember there was a moment with Ray that he would just, he did this promo, and it's like about Dominic. And now you look back at the time that I was just talking about Dominic and Rey Mysterio and the custody for Dominic, whole feud that they were doing at the time. You think to yourself, you're like, wow, when you can generally just encapsulate people with that, but also then do these big maneuvers when you're jumping off things, when you're doing head scissors, when you're doing takeovers, and like just crazy maneuvers over everything, you can't not think about the innovator that is Eddie Guerrero, and what a gem he was to have in WWE.
was such an amazing wrestler during those times, and just such an innovator, as we've been mentioning with everyone in this list. Sorry, with everyone in this list. But the one that I want to mention next, in my last pick, Matthew, is a really amazing innovator, but for a whole different side of WWE. This is going to be Lita, 4-time women's champion, 1-time and current WWE Women's Tag Team Champion with Becky Lynch, which is just crazy now. And a Hall of Famer. Kind of forgot she was a Hall of Famer. That's crazy. A Hall of Famer is Tag Team Champion. Congratulations. With this being said, she's a Hall of Famer. Lita is the literal innovator for women to start doing these moves that we've been talking about. Moonsaults, Lita salt. Like, Lita first want to start doing dives. She literally got injured because of a dive. Lita was just killing it. She had that amazing feud with Trish everyone knows about. In 2020, she won a World Cup in a tournament for greatest female wrestler of all time. That was fan voted. So Lita has been putting in that work ever so long ago, and is still doing it now, just innovating women. I remember there was an interview, I forget, it's one of the girls in NXT. We'll put her on the screen. Lita, that girl mentioned that she was like inspired from Lita. Lita is literally an innovator. She has changed the game for the females in WWE from doing all these moves at such a young time, and even wrestling men too. Back then would do 1 or 2 spots with them and even do more. So Lita, amazing talent. I'm glad that she's back and literally helped, inspired even the women more to now do these crazy moves and put their bodies on the line. Just
and that's
like
the
Jeff
thing,
was.
when you think innovators, and you think the journey that Lita has been on, without Lita and Trish, none of this happens. They were in the main event of one Raw, and then eventually that became a norm because of that, right? And because of those dives and because of those big moments. And then she'd also be with Team Extreme, she'd be with Edge, she'd be always that constant, and would do maneuvers with everyone. I remember, there was Edge and Mick at WrestleMania, the hardcore match, and she was like very...
The hardcore moment she did too. She really reached those limits, man. She did.
And that's
some
the thing.
different shit.
You see that, and then next thing you know, now she's back in it, and it's great to see her. It's great to see her continuing that legacy and continuing pushing the envelope for female wrestling in WWE. Because guys, I'm gonna be honest with you, it was a long time coming. It should have happened a long time ago when the Women's Revolution happened, but here we are now, and it continues to be some of the best television on WWE networking, especially with people coming up in NXT now, also looking at Lita, Trish, these big names, but definitely Lita with her crazy maneuver that she'd be doing with the Lita Salt, with all sorts of crazy maneuvers. And it's because of that these people are generally looking to be like Lita again. Lita was also one that would just wear kind of anything to the ring. She'd wear like these jeans and this white shirt, and it wouldn't be I'm flashy. It would be like, no, I'm going to show you wrestling, and I'm going to show you flying high, because that's what she was. And then people would then innovate it after and continue to learn from her, because like you said, an innovator, a legend, and someone who a Hall of Famer that will never ever be forgotten as in history as one of the pillars of women's wrestling in WWE.
Exactly. One of the pillars in women's wrestling. I would definitely, if there was a women's wrestling WWE Mount Rushmore video
Absolutely.
we ever did. Let us know if you want.
But you
that.
know what
Lead
we
us on
forgot
it for sure.
about some of this thing is that, of course, there are some people we forgot, and there are pillars that we forgot to add in. So now is time for some honorable mentions, and Devlin, throw it your way on this
Honourable
one. I know you have
mentions.
one in mind, as you were saying before. So please tell me your first honorable mention.
I was 50-50 with putting this man and Adrian Neville on the list, and I really couldn't figure out which I wanted to do. But then I just remembered the accomplishments that Adrian Neville was able to do over this man. And unfortunately, there is no reason that, honestly, I think for that. This man is obviously gonna be Evan Bourne. He's a great high flyer. He is an amazing wrestler. He even won the award in Wrestling Observer Newsletter in 2008 for Best Flying Wrestler. 2008, he also won the award for Best Wrestling Maneuver for the Shooting Star Press. It's just insane to me that he never did more. But the thing is that he didn't do more. And also Airborne versus Code Red, or Red Arrow, sorry. Airborne versus Airborne being his Shooting Star Press. Airborne versus
Crazy.
Red Arrow. Red Arrow. And then Adrian Neville did more. Now, not to be rude to Evan Bourne, because outside WWE, inside the WWE, he's an overall amazing wrestler. Just, I hope one day he comes back and just kills it again, because he, like, maybe one day we'll do this list again and I'll put him on it. Like,
Misused.
like,
Yeah, he
he's an amazing
could have been
talent.
more.
It's just,
Could have been more.
he could have. He was misused.
And that's the thing.
He just didn't
Talking about
reach
reaching levels,
that level.
Evan Bourne definitely comes to mind. But there is someone for me that I generally tend to forget sometimes, but definitely should be an honorable mention on this list. Someone who's been very high on many occasions and have fallen from very high. His name being Money himself, Shane McMahon. Now, Shane McMahon was someone who, you know, would generally be jumping coast to coast. He'd be doing the leap of faith with his elbow and just continuing doing these flying maneuvers, and would fall off of many high heights, including an amazing match with The Undertaker at WrestleMania, where he dived through the table and elbow drop him directly, in shades of what we would see in stuff like Mick Foley and The Undertaker, you know, that we haven't seen in many years. And you know, Shane McMahon is definitely someone who deserves to be on this list. Now, the only reason why he's not on the list, you know, I tend to gravitate towards people who would always do high flying and would not just also do these magical punches and these kicks, you know. And I think Shane McMahon, yes, he would fly high. When he did, it was amazing, and he is an innovator. But unfortunately, there are people who were more of an innovator at the time than Shane McMahon, but definitely someone to always be looking back. Shane O'Mac for sure.
See, Shane O'Mac is a really good honorable mention. Honestly, even a really good person that could have even been on this list. But the thing is with Shane O'Mac is, unfortunately, he wasn't so with the company as these wrestlers were. They were there weekly, daily, putting in that work, doing it 24/7. He would appear on and off just for a pay-per-view thing and then go. But someone who was putting in that work, and I really almost put them on this list, but this is literally why we made the honorable mention category, is for Shelton motherfucking Benjamin, bro. Shelton Benjamin is one of my, I don't want to say a top 10 now, but like, he's definitely like in my favorite wrestling list. He's just overall an amazing athlete. Him casually jumping to the top of the rope to then suplex someone, him casually springboarding and getting super kicked. When you talk about moments, this man has them. I just didn't put him in the top 10 though, for his accolades and his overall. He also didn't specifically wrestle that high flying style. This is another reason why I didn't put a few other wrestlers in my list, because he didn't always wrestle that high flying style. He didn't always do that. He was more of a technician. He would do those big moments, yes, and he would do those springboards, he would do those dives. Yes, he had those big moments. It just wasn't his casual, always doing it and killing it 24/7 throughout. He would just do them for the big moments and the big pops. Unlike Jeff Hardy, who was always, all of his attacks or all of his moves were going to be a springboard or some
absolutely.
type of
I agree with that. 100%. Shelton Benjamin, when you think of the Money in the Bank ladder match, you need to think about him. Some of his amazing accomplishments would also come from that time in his life, right? And seeing him do some of those incredible maneuvers, you can never forget them. You can never, ever forget them. Someone that many people tend to forget about, but I generally need to throw him on this list. And as much as everyone tends to do a 450 splash now, it's because of this person that they did it. And he came up with Nexus, and I wish that they could have done more with him at the time, because he could have been the next Ricochet, but there's a reason why he's only on the honorable mentions. Without that, and without him flying high for only a short period of time until he was let go, that being Justin Gabriel. Now, Justin Gabriel, was the high-flying guy, the South African Cape Town boy that would jump around and would do just incredible maneuvers like the 450 splash. This was the first time we saw this maneuver hit, and it was something incredible to see. Now you see it, and you see it from like AJ Styles, and you see it from the guy next door, and it's anybody, right? But he was an innovator when it came to that move in WWE. I have seen it before Justin Gabriel did it, but it became just smooth and flawless. And again, with the time in NXT where, this was when John Cena was reigning, and you didn't have much more than Ryback and these people who were just brutes. And then here you are coming out with a guy that would just do a full 2 rounds up on the top rope, just doing a full splash. It was absolutely incredible, and something that I'll never forget because of Justin Gabriel.
And just how WWE captured that moment too, with the 450, the splash, you hear the impact, that moment, John Cena selling, all the air exiting. That's what a dive is. That's what those finishers are supposed to do. It's supposed to hit that impact. You're supposed to lose all the breath out of you. You almost get you almost get knocked out because of losing all that air. You can't even breathe anymore. So 1, 2, 3, it's over. That's what a lot of these dives do, if not done properly. But Justin Gabriel killed it constantly with that 450. Honestly, I didn't even think about him. I feel kind of disrespectful. I didn't even think about him putting him on my list. But he really did do a lot. But I could barely remember him in WWE, minus a few times.
He was in the core as well, and he was also with Heath Slater at a time too as well.
Yeah, he was in the core. Heath Slater, and then just disappeared. Jeez.
And that's the thing. There's many other names we can talk about, guys, but generally, we need to talk about the legends as well. And the legends for me, there are 3 other ones. if you don't mind, the Dragon, Ricky Steamboat needs to be on that list for sure, as well as Jimmy Superfly Snuka, and of course HBK himself flying high with the elbow.
I would even say we could sprinkle Owen Hart in there. There's definitely a lot of old school wrestlers that did that style. It's just at that time what they were doing versus
and that's the thing, you can even put
now.
Chris Jericho on that list.
It's
with the lion salt
baby.
and these maneuvers that before him no one was doing it. No one would do the lion salt or some of these big maneuvers.
Triangle drop kick, he would do some. There's a outside dive, I can't think of that he did, but that's exactly as Chris Jericho was doing these things. Like, he literally went to do the lucha training so he could do that. But that's the thing, is they got outshined.
And that's the thing, you can also throw in other names like Psychosis, Jamie Noble, these types of smaller guys, but generally made a huge impact. And I think that's what it really comes down to, Dev. When you're making a huge impact and you are springing high and just showing those crazy maneuvers that when you think back in WWE history, you're thinking, what have I just watched? Like I said, the oohs, the ahs, and everything in between. That's mainly what it was. And honestly, I think we got many oohs, ahs, and outs during this time. Ones came from Jeff Hardy jumping off. Others came from, just despicable maneuvers from Eddie Guerrero, or from doing these...
The moment with Ricochet and Logan Paul crashing violently into each other. Anything that these wrestlers we mentioned do on a consistent basis is just mental, is insane. And it's just God.
And with that being said, God bless all of you for sticking around. Close to an hour-long video talking to us all about WWE, and this has made me love wrestling that much more. Just talking about wrestling and about everything in the professional wrestling scene with some people, and going down memory lane, all about times that I was looking at the television and in awe of these superheroes come to life. And that's what it mainly is, and hopefully we can look into the history books and think to ourselves, wow, we have seen so many amazing talents, and hopefully you guys are here for many, many more of our lists for top 10s, whether it be technicians, big men, like I said before, or anything in between. Let us know what you guys want to see down below or on any of our social media platforms. And thank you guys so much for watching. We generally have been so happy doing this with you guys.
Thank you so much.
We cannot wait to continue this journey with you. And we cannot wait for you guys to see what else is coming to MoreMadViews. We've been posting a lot, and we have many playlists and things for you guys to watch now, so go check that out. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And Dev, what should they do if they want to see something?
Make sure to see our vision.